I've said goodbye too many times to you. I've traced the line to find what not to do, and the record's been stricken for once. I will make a shout of the wrongs that we've done. Falling in and out, I've lost count. Every time I try to go without a sound, you try to build a cage around me. I will start fires and burn away free. Don't you tell me of the other side. Don't you tell me of the other side. Don't you tell me of the other poured a little light in your cup, filled a couple grams with my love. The quiet stretches out thin as I prepare to start again, start again, start again, start again, start again.
You want to know why running on the treadmill 7 days a week doesn't work for you when you're trying to lose weight? Because it never has. And I know that's hard to
was left to my own devices, and now I'm in deep. Was left to my own devices, but I'm not asleep. But I'm not asleep. I'm dreaming of paradises, but I'm not asleep. Even if we fight, it's all alright. Even if we yell, we'll be fine by tonight. Even if I say I don't love you, even if we fight, it's all. Even if we yell, we'll be fine by tonight. Even if I say I don't love you, even if we talk, even if we view, even if we talk, even if I say I don't love you.
Taking too long. Oh, we just got out of the session.
Oh, y'all was in a session?
Yeah, the Zoom.
What Zoom?
It was the Zoom we had today. It was re-
Uh, was I invited to that?
yeah, you was invited.
So
Yeah.
wasn't nobody gonna remind me? That's what. Yeah, I see what y'all do. Y'all the type to tell somebody after the fact, like, yeah, we had a Zoom that you was supposed to be at. I've been sitting here this whole time, bro.
What's good, y'all? Yeah, my brother had to tell me about this one. He was like, "Yeah, it was good." I'm like, huh?
Yeah, I see what it is. It's all good, man. You know, I had me some good honey nut Cheerios. I'm not even tripping, though. I'm glad y'all had a good Zoom.
Yeah, you gotta talk to Kayla about that.
Nah, Kayla not real. I'm not talking to her today.
Wait, hold on. What? Wait a minute.
Why you ain't tell me it was a Zoom?
Bro, why you didn't know you got the same notifications I got?
It's cool.
I thought you was traveling, but real talk, I thought you knew and you just still
It's
traveling.
cool. Listen, it's cool. No explanation necessary. You
Here
feel
we
me?
go. Here we go.
It's all good. I'm taking notes and I'm gonna move accordingly.
Dang.
Listen. All right, y'all. So, hey, we here. You know, we doing the bull versus bear case. Matter of fact, Kayla, since you all gassed up fresh off the Zoom, I'm gonna let you get a whole little rundown.
Okay. So, we're gonna do the same thing as last time. You know the drill. Just record audio. Do we want to? I'm gonna let for everybody who's up here. Do we want to allow them to choose which side are they gonna do, the bear versus the bull, or we're just gonna let them tell us their favorite company and we choose if they're gonna do the bear or the bull?
Let's do. They have to say 3 companies that's their favorite of 2021, and we pick the company. They can pick the case.
Bet. Sounds good. Because next week is gonna be way worse than that. Cool. Let's do that. Y'all ready to? You ready to go?
Yeah, for sure. Let's do it. What's up, everybody? By the way.
Yo, what's good? What's good, bro?
What's up, Noel?
I didn't know. We wrote it in the chat today too, reminding everybody before we went in.
Am I on some different chat? Maybe I
No,
missed it.
Princess, we've been trying to get you in this one. So I don't know if anybody has his number.
I'll figure that out after this. Well,
Okay, send it to me on DM.
Yeah.
Who to turn the hand raising on? Who want to come on first? Anybody want to do a bear versus bull? Come on now. Don't be scared. We're gonna be nice. Be nice.
Hello.
Hey. So we got Jimmy up first. So what's your 3 companies?
I'm gonna go with let me look over here. I'm gonna go with Qualcomm, LRCX, and TSM.
What y'all want? Tayville, choose a company.
Qualcomm.
And so now what am I arguing? The bull or the bear?
It's up to you.
I go with the bull.
All right, you got 90 seconds.
They're the only chipset vendor with 5G system level solutions, which is vital for smartphones. I like their CAGR rate. They got the Snapdragon Ride platform, which is going to be the first of its kind for autonomous vehicles, supposed to be released in 2022, 2023. And then the Snapdragon is considered arguably one of the most powerful and accessible price for 5G systems. And the beautiful part about that is they're talking about having more construction within 5G networks of personal computers. And I'll step away at that point.
Want to be the first bear? Anybody got a bear argument?
All right, so you talked about autonomous driving, right? And that's not coming until 2022, you said? But what about NVIDIA Drive, which is already used in Mercedes-Benz, Hyundai? We already heard about the NIO news. How you think they're going to compete with that?
Well, with NIO and NIO's autonomous drive, they're talking about a 2022 release. And the issue with their autonomous drive, yes, they are using NVIDIA, but the issue with NIO, that's a whole other can of worms in regards to what the vehicle will be able to do on top of the battery swap. And what was the other company you said? You said NVIDIA?
Yeah.
NVIDIA is a monster all across the board. So I'm in agreement with you with NVIDIA. I just like the fact that when it comes to Qualcomm, they're the only company that to date that has 5G properties. There's no one close to be able to replicate that anytime soon.
Okay. Okay, I got something for you. So Qualcomm seems to have had a lot of concentration. So basically, their risk is kind of concentrated because the revenue is particularly generated by just really a handful of customers, which they kind of indicated was continue to be what's going to be coming up in the upcoming quarters. And Qualcomm's margins have been declining due to high operating expenses and R&D costs. So how would you suggest that they'll be able to navigate that, ensuring confidence in the future?
Well, the fact that when it comes to Qualcomm, they have other patents. So, and the patents are very lucrative for them. And they're talking about having a continuation of that. When it comes to Qualcomm, they have, I want to say 5 years. So about 4 years now that they have an agreement with Apple on top of, and that's just for to be able to use the telecommunication properties itself. But when it comes to the patents, they have a continuous agreement with them on that one. So I love the fact that a lot of the focus is moving towards the patent, which it has before in the past. Let me see. And it still has patents in regards to 3G and 4G. And when it comes to other companies, I want to say other countries, I want to say it was China or somewhere else. It was small in regards to the revenue that it brings in regards to sales.
So would you say that also holds up to the fact that even though majority of these customers I was talking about is Chinese manufacturers, and knowing that the revenue generating potential is kind of strained as due to the relationship with the United States?
I'm sorry, say one more time.
Basically what I was saying is that, majority of the customers that I was talking about, a lot of that revenue is coming from Chinese manufacturers. And so just given the type of relationship that we have with China, is kind of a strained relationship right now as their revenue generating potential. Would you say that that still holds up to that? You think?
I was going to say, when I was looking at when I was doing research with Qualcomm and I was looking on Zax, it was saying that I want to say it's about 3 to 6% in regards to how much revenue was generated, particularly from China. So I didn't see a lot of research support that a lot of their revenue comes from China or any other type of trade sanctioned conflicting countries.
Yes, I'm finished. Go ahead.
Yeah. So as far as growth, right? We're talking the next few years or so. If we look at Qualcomm's growth and we break it up into, I guess, two immediate tiers: premium tier and it's like low cost emerging market growth. What do you say? So you mentioned the Snapdragon platform. Of course, you noticed that you mentioned that NVIDIA is just the beast all around. So we can leave that there. But what do you say to Intel? Because I know we kind of beat up on Little Boy Blue, but they're not dead. And a lot of the competition and competitors that they're partnering up with, like Amazon, and the fact that they are some of the main chips that are powering those Boston Dynamic robots that you see that Hyundai owns. Those are major big deals. And if you look at it on the lower cost emerging side, right, how do you think that Qualcomm will be able to maintain their edge when we have like system on a chip projects like the Exynos coming from Samsung and other things like MediaTek and Rockchip, which will eat into their margins in those emerging areas like India and Singapore and all those other places that are going to be tomorrow. So how do you see them kind of moving themselves on the chessboard to combat those two areas?
I love that question. I think that question is the more reason why I became very bullish when it comes to Qualcomm. Qualcomm is just so far ahead of the curve when it comes to 5G technologies. And we're talking about with the 5G technology capabilities, you're able to be faster internet speeds, better Bluetooth. And they're even talking about when it comes to anything that's going to be autonomous, 5G is going to be very essential. So that's why I became very bullish on them. Intel is unfortunately right now so far behind. So, for example, when it came for Apple, Apple bought the chip department from Intel. And I looked at that and I did a little bit more research. And people are saying that due to the fact that Qualcomm has at least 4 years, it was 5 years last year when they got into the agreement. That's still 4 years now. I'm looking at them saying that they are already contractually in agreement with Qualcomm to continue to move forward. And that research shows that it'd be so hard to achieve economies of scale that Apple could not even be able to move forward in trying to produce their own chips, especially when it comes to 5G, because most of the industry is not even there yet.
I just want to say, Jimmy, congrats to you just standing your ground. That is awesome. I thought you did great. So what we taking? We taking the bear or the bull case?
Yeah, good job.
I'm rolling with Jimmy. I'm sure
Yeah, that's all
he
we got.
got that.
Hey, Jimmy, you got your bull case. Awesome.
I want to thank y'all. I want to thank Tebow. Tebow was the reason I was able to. And I understand when they say still sharpen steel, and I truly mean that when I say I want to thank that brother, because you got some people who just say it to be cliche. I say it because I came in with companies before, and he sent me back to the lab. So I literally spent about a day literally researching Qualcomm, just finding research, and then he would say, "Well, no, look at this. Think about the future." And I'm saying to myself, "Okay, damn, let me think about the future." Okay, well, I see that Apple was trying to boost their own chip. Now that forced me to do more research. And when I saw that they're already in a contract for 4 more years, I said, oh no, we greenlit. I've already looked at all the bulls and the bears, and I've looked at more bears than bulls and found out that they truly have a moat when it comes to 5G technology. Thank you as always. Pleasure. TV, I'm gonna contact you shortly. Y'all be smooth.
Hey, appreciate you, bro. It shows. It shows you did your homework.
About to say that's all we want, man. We just want more wolves out here.
We got up next. It looks like Keon. Hey, how you doing?
What's up, family? It's gonna be tough to follow that, but I'm gonna do my best.
So what's your 3 companies?
I'm gonna go with Teladoc. Can we use an ETF or no?
No ETF.
Teladoc, Neo, and CrowdStrike.
All right, Vic, you choose.
Neo.
You're doing the bear bull case for Neo, Keon.
I'll take the bull.
Cool. All right. And let us know you're ready.
I want to start by saying that this was the best case scenario for me. Well, where do I start? I'm gonna start with the most important thing: their relationship with the nation state itself. Neo is a Chinese company, and the government, after surveying the landscape and realizing they had a bunch of companies to choose from, decided to partner itself up with Neo. How does this manifest itself? Subsidies, both for the consumer and for Neo. If I want to buy a Neo, but it's too expensive, there's lots of subsidies and or incentives that Neo has put in place to drive down the cost, which is a barrier of entry for consumers, specifically battery as a service. The consumer opts into that battery as a service. The market sticker MSRP price at sale is cut at 10 or 15%. I have to get the exact number. And furthermore, China only, this is the detail on their subsidy. So to receive a subsidy from the government in China, you have to produce an EV car that is below a certain price. Neo, their goal and objective is to compete with Tesla. Tesla does not qualify for that subsidy because their product is too expensive. So is Neo. The caveat put in place by the Chinese nation state is that if your EV company uses battery swap technology, you qualify for the subsidy. This subsidy was put in place years after it was known by the industry that Neo would have battery swap technology. What's that thing called? Production? No, deliveries. Deliveries are going up quarter over quarter.
At a bill.
All right, who wants to do the bear case?
I mean, if we're gonna address the elephant in the room, I would be. I guess my question would be, why would you choose Neo over Tesla?
That's a fair question. The first reality I had to face was price. Let's just get that out of the way. And then Neo's stock price is far, far away from the value of their company. Meaning, look at Apple. Apple had a stock split and now it's trading at 100, but before that stock split was in the thousands. I think Neo, because of the quality and all this stuff that I talked about earlier, is destined to have a stock price higher than $50 or $40. I bought it when it was in the 40s. And so I think the road ahead for Neo is filled with more growth on the valuation side than Tesla because they're already up in the billions.
All right, so we know that they're up and coming. However, with the companies, if you were to like look at the balance sheet, analysts show that with as of September 30th, 2020, that their long-term debt has been $996 million as of that date, and representing a debt capital ratio of 4.43 against the industry's 0.52. So assessing that, knowing those numbers, why would one still invest? Is there a counter argument to what would still make it worthwhile to invest in?
I did notice that in my research, but I didn't flinch because it's so early. You can say it's Tesla-esque. Tesla didn't start being profitable until years into their company, and Neo is still relatively new, which circles back to why I decided to invest in them over Tesla anyway. Long story short, their sales projections will more than account for their debt over time.
Are you concerned about their agreement with JAC that would ultimately hamper their ability to streamline manufacturing costs? So like you think like Tesla, right? Pretty much everything they do is vertically integrated into their system. They design their own cars and make their own cars. They do their own advertising, which is none, right? They sell their own cars. But Neo does not manufacture their own cars, right? So they have a manufacturing agreement with the JAC that also keeps them from having lower margins per car than their peers. And although they are subsidized by China, what's going to keep them from Xiping and Li and the other guys when China decides to throw some money behind them and they don't have manufacturing agreements in order and they can streamline their manufacturing costs and actually increase their margin. How do you see that Neo being able to grow their way out of that?
That's a very fair point, and it is my chief concern that they don't have their own factory and they're sharing one with JAC. I don't think it's going to be a long-lived reality because I think it just doesn't fall that high on their priority list in terms of doing what they needed to do to get their brand off the ground. Right? They're already producing enough cars that are satisfying the consumer base in China and building their brand loyalty. So once you address certain debts or other things higher up on the priority list, I do anticipate that they will eventually build out their own factory.
Okay. So, with that being said, what do y'all think? You're going with the bear or the bull case?
Rolling with the bear case on that one.
Bear.
I'm rolling with the bear, just given a lot of it's speculative.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with bear. I think it's a short term. I mean, you rock the Kion, but I think the Bears need to.
Right, they got a lot of stuff that they gotta recover, especially that balance sheet, which was hanging over their head. Then you also have to think the other Chinese companies that are there that are looking to get into electric vehicles and autonomous vehicles, and then taking place of the Chinese government as well. That they can put any given moment, they can put money into any one of those companies. So really, with Neo, it has to solidify itself as being that company for China, like Tesla is for the U.S. right
now. I appreciate the feedback, guys. So is there any suggestions or advice that I can do from my own research? More data, more numbers? Or I just don't like the company?
It's not that I don't like Neo. I think that you should maybe really hone in on like what's their specialty and what like why they deserve the valuation that they have, because yes, it's still early, but for the amount of cars that they sell, their valuation really isn't justified at this moment unless you're able to justify it. So Tesla, they do so many different things that you can justify an overvalue or buying into an overvaluation for a company like that. For Neo, I didn't hear in your argument why their overvaluation was justified. I do think that they have a lot of things that they do different than other um, EV companies that you might want to, just have in your back pocket to stand on and justify why you personally would put your money into a company like this because it is a Chinese company. So, that's already the risk in itself. So I would just make sure you strengthen that part.
And I was just going to say, I mean, there's no right or wrong answer. I mean, the main thing is just for us to sharpen each other as we're assessing these companies that we're not overly bearish or overly bullish and just kind of getting perspective. Like one of the things that you could have mentioned, and maybe I might have missed it, is this talking about the battery swap technology they're talking about, right? That could be something that just is completely unique. A lot of analysts consider that to be game changing, right? So that could have been something as a counter argument and things of that nature.
He mentioned it.
Oh, he did.
He mentioned it, but conversely, Keon, I would look a little further into that battery as a service technology because if they're playing it as a boon, as a service, is a good thing. But you got to ask yourself, if the battery is so great, how many times? Why do we have to keep swapping it? And why do we have to keep switching it? And then you got to look at the battery as a service swapping stations, right? They are cost prohibitive. They cost a lot of money, and they're actually behind in creating and putting them together. So those are just some of the things that I was thinking about too when I was looking at that. But good job overall.
Yeah, great.
The question is, how many miles the battery lasts?
Well, I'm not sure. They just they're on 100 kilowatt per hour right now, but they're working towards a solid state. But time will tell. I appreciate it, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks.
I have something to add, Keon, before you go, if that's okay.
Yeah, no doubt.
Go.
Okay, so I've done some research on NIO, and what I have found is the reason so that it being a Chinese company, it could be a good and a bad thing, right? Because it's like Chinese want to take over the market, right? Think what they did with solar electricity that the United States did not capitalize on. That's one. So it's kind of like Boeing for the United States. Chinese are going to back them. That's the first thing. The second thing that I would do if I was making a bull case for NIO is look at how China's economy works, right? And the way they use power. Teslas are going to be very difficult to implement in China for that reason. I cannot remember the exact statistics, so you're going to have to do your own research on this, but I will give you the clip notes, as it were. There is something about the way NIO's battery swap technology is more likely to be useful in the way the Chinese manage their car systems. Like 90. Okay, here it is. 93% of the population lives inside of apartments in China. Hence, they do not have a place to charge their cars if they were to have a Tesla. That's why the battery technology works. That would be part of the bull case that I would make for NIO, because that is going to be huge in how much and whether or not you would choose a Tesla. If you don't have a place that you can park it and charge it renders that car irrelevant. But that battery swap technology is lickety split smooth. Now, when auto drive comes on for Tesla, okay, that changes the game again. But in the interim, again, you have the Chinese company, Chinese government backing it, and 93% of the population in China lives in apartment buildings, and they do not have a place to charge their Teslas.
I think you're a better lawyer than me, Gabe. Well, I appreciate you.
Brother, it's research. It's research, brother. Listen, I don't let anything.
I didn't say it. I knew about that, and 40% of the people that bought a NIO subscribed for the monthly battery as a subscription to lower their income. I think the one point that transcends all of this is the nation state deciding to give them the okie doke by saying, oh, you got battery as a swap? Well, we're going to give y'all subsidies. Xpeng, Li, nobody else ain't getting that. And China, that's China's choice, right? NIO doesn't have leverage on the nation state. So my question is, why would the nation state back NIO? So as long as that's the situation, I feel some comfort.
Yeah, Germany backed Volkswagen, and look what Volkswagen is to this day because of that. So, I mean, you're if you're doing historical data, again, different country, but same ideology when it comes to kind of having a fascist mind state. Yeah, you're great. In my opinion, it's not a bad play. Now, I'm not bullish on NIO, but don't get me wrong, I do have my eyes on it.
Thank you all.
No problem. No problem. All right, so moving on, we got next. If you refresh, it's looking like Peyton's up next. How you doing? You there? Going once, going twice. All right.
Oh, sir.
And then moving on, we got Mo Fit. You up next?
Hey, thank you for having me on here. So the stocks that I'm looking at, I'm gonna talk about three of them. The first one I'm looking at is DKNG. I'm liking the fact that it's been holding that
Hold on,
$50
hold on, sir. Hold on. Just a second. So this is how this is going. Is that you tell us your top three companies. We'll select which company you can choose, whether you want to do the bear or the bull case for it, and then we'll kind of do a counter argument to whatever you choose. Okay. So out of those three, you just tell us the first three, and we'll choose one.
Okay, it's gonna be DKNG,
Okay.
AMC,
Okay.
and Cloudera, CLDR. And could I give you four? Let me give you AT&T as the fourth one.
Okay. So, Princess, you're up next to choose. Which of those companies would you like him to do his fair or bull case for?
I'm curious about this AMC one.
Yeah.
I was there too. All right.
Uh-huh.
So, you do the bear or the bull case for it?
So with me, I'm kind of neutral on it. I want to explain both cases. So as of now, it's currently near its all-time lows, and as you guys know, since the Corona pandemic, it's completely crashed. The reason why I wanted to pull this one out is because since the vaccine has now come out, the bull case is as long as the vaccine comes out and it handles this current virus strain, and no strain comes after that. As long as we could hear some positive news on AMC reopening up, it could end up recovering. Now, my bear case is it's took such a huge hit since the coronavirus pandemic that I don't know how it's going to bounce back. And also, at the same time, they're also still looking for funds to survive. So that one was really a wild card pick out of all of them. And that's my bullish and bearish case.
Oh, so you just went ahead and gave both cases, huh?
Right. I got it myself.
Yeah, because with this one, like I like to always stay neutral because I feel like sometimes you even when you're in a position, I'm not in any positions with any of the stocks I chose, but I feel like with the stock market, things could switch so quickly, so you always have to be ready to adapt.
So would you put money into AMC?
Me personally, not yet. It's something I'm watching for. So like with the pros and cons about like how I go about things is the cons are I might be missing out on potential gains, but I like to see like a consistent run up before entering any positions. And since it's so low too, I would like to see it get probably like near at least like the $5-10 ranges and hold above there. And also once again, here's some like news about them reopening, and hopefully hear news about like no more strains coming out regarding the COVID coronavirus strain, and same thing also with DKNG as well.
So okay, actually, let me get it frustrated. Let me come back to that. Let me hold on.
So I guess with all the money that AMC has burned through, my question would be why even look at a stock like this?
Exactly, and that's a great question. I guess the real answer to that is because like still it's always been a big staple. It's always been a theater, and if they could somehow adapt to what's going on right now, such as like Netflix and mainly digital services, they potentially could come back. It just depends, and that's why I also have a bearish case as well, because it depends on really how people come back to like regular everyday life if they decide to open that theater again.
Bro, let me tell you, AMC is not coming back.
Hey, they bring it down for $99.
Here's the thing, man. So I mean, I guess comeback is always relative, and if you're gonna play the option play eventually and go for it. But I mean, I'm looking at what $30-some back in 2017 as the watermark. Maybe I'm looking at that wrong, but let me see. Yeah, like 36. We're talking about December 2016, and and you're assuming that the vaccine works and that everybody is just all of a sudden hungry to get back into movies, and that the last 9 or 10 months where we've gotten super comfortable with watching anything we want on our TVs, and big release movies have decided to just start coming out now, and the streaming wars has just started heating up. Right, next year is going to be even crazier when it comes to streaming wars. So there are a lot of headwinds that AMC has to get to on top of earning enough to get rid of the hole that they ran into this year and the hole that they were in trying to sell that $20 popcorn the last 5 years. So,
and that's exactly why I agree with like what TiVo said, where he said like, why would I even mention the stock? So that's a great answer. I'm mentioning this because I know there's a lot of beginners, so I want you guys to all keep note of what exactly TiVo and Prentice just said, because this is what could happen in the stock market with your own money. So look at that chart, what he's talking about, where it was once $37 and now it's only $2. So with this stock, I think it's a perfect example, especially if you're starting out, with the possibilities in the stock market. And I think just like what Prentice said, they do have all these things to overcome. So I think it's something to watch out for. I would not recommend investing in it. I'm personally not in any positions when it comes to AMC. I just think it's something to watch because it's a great tool to learn from.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. Because that definitely highlights the concept where you got when people are just starting out. I mean, they just see, oh, this dropped this, and I know it's gonna run back. And it's like, yeah, just because it's dropped, it don't mean it's gonna run back up. Let's not.
Exactly. So, very similar to J.C. Penney. As you all know, like J.C. Penney was once a $70 stock, and then as soon as the pandemic hit, they went all the way down to a penny stock off the Nasdaq. And now they're also shutting down many locations. So when you're investing, always do your research and always do the risk management, because you never know what kind of companies could be off the map. I mean, J.C. Penney was a pretty big company, so keep that in mind.
Thanks, man. That was awesome.
And never invest based upon pre-COVID highs. Never invest based upon that.
Solid advice. All right, who's up next? Oh, well, hello there. Are you gonna be arguing some cases? Hello, Gabe. You there? Oh, you about to proud, sir.
No, I was up here to help out Keon. Y'all can send me back to y'all.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, Charles, you're up next.
So first off, I want to say that thank you for bringing me up here. But we're all investors here. I'm into the foreign exchange. Right, I just wanted to come in here and see what you guys were talking about as far as stocks. We're all investors, and definitely, I like to give people a good return on their investments. As far as when you think about stocks, when you want to get a 5% return on your investment or whatever business that you do invest in, it's going to take at least 2 months, right? And so I just teach people how they can be able to do that in a much faster time, because you do want to see a great return on your investment. So you'll give me a follow. Sorry.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that. But Randall, you up next, bro.
Ruthless. How you doing, Randall? How you doing? You there? Uh-oh. Going once? Going twice? Come on, Randall, don't drop the bag.
I'm mad he came in here trying to
promote.
Nah, we not even giving him no like, bro.
And with bad facts, saying 5%, yeah, that's not even
not even finna get up.
Where's my ladies?
Moving on.
Right.
Yeah, where the females? Where the women at? My females, where the women at?
On the game. Where y'all at, y'all? I was trying to be
I'm finna turn the hands off and turn them back on because Clubhouse tripping. All right, let's try this again. Taylor, is it letting you let people up? Because mine is not. All right, there we go. Trevor, what's good, bro?
Ain't that much. How y'all doing tonight?
Straight. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. I just want to make a comment. I've been following the Come Up Series Mark, you guys, since about October. A partner of mine said, hey, you need to follow me, in the summertime. I wish I would have listened back then, but I got into a couple of leaps and just more so studying and looking at some of the ETFs and then looking at some of the dogs I had in my E-Trade account that was
I won't do nothing with it. I won't pay attention to that E-Trade account for years. And within a couple of months, I was like, hold on, we on to something here. So everybody that's listening, I would just say study, follow the YouTube series, TiVo, Mark, everybody, and just apply it. Just take your time.
That's a fact, bro. You got your 3 companies?
I don't. I just saw, I just saw the whole thing come up, and I'm like, oh, man.
Trevor.
I mean, look, I'm going to get into more XLY, but the entry point is so high right now.
Listen, bro, what's your favorite company in 2021? Right. We about to get you right.
Oh, man. Hold on, I got my list. Give me 1 second. Let me see. You should know this.
You don't know your
favorite. Yeah.
Yeah, like if I said, what's your favorite football team? You wouldn't have to get a list. Right?
No, I'm not even going to discuss that right now because the Giants pissing me off. So we're not even discussing that.
It's all love, Trevor, but you're going to go cross surface, sir.
You about to be.
I mean, right now, I'm actually looking at the ARC ETF, SMH ETF, and
company, Trevor, company.
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 Man, I'm stuck, man. I'm sorry.
All right, Trevor. It's cool, Trevor. You just get comfortable in the couch in the audience. We still love you. Next time, we just need company. We appreciate the love, though. I promise. We done had 2 people in a row mess up the flow of the stage. We trying to keep the people, with added value.
But Trevor, I will say though, so you mentioned that there was some ETFs. Just look at the top, 3 holdings of those companies, and that might actually show you some more conviction as to what companies you have, interest in.
Big facts. Aki, what's up, bro?
Peace, Evo. So I got Noke, which is Nokia, DSX, which is Boston Scientific, and X.
Okay. Who's up next? Noel, you up next to choose. What you got?
Let's do Nokia because I'm trying to hear this.
I knew that.
Hey. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. So Nokia merged with Alcatel-Lucent, becoming a major telecommunications equipment producer. T-Mobile uses both Ericsson and Nokia as equipment providers. T-Mobile merger with Sprint leapfrogged them to number 2, seeding AT&T. Since T-Mobile's trying to lead the charge of 5G revolution over Nokia, Nokia and Ericsson will benefit from this. So Nokia transport and cloud software businesses are major growth opportunities. So I'm in the gaming, so I pay attention to HDMI standards. Right now, HDMI 2.0 bandwidth is like 18 gigabits per second. HDMI 2.1, which just came out this year and next year, is 48 gigabits. So with AMD and Microsoft and NVIDIA and Sony moving to cloud gaming, I said to myself, what happens when internet connections to your home supersede 50 gigabits per second or 100? So instead of needing to go out and buy an Xbox or a Sony, you just, get your controller and you connect to the cloud.
So I'm a gamer. So why would I look to a company like Nokia when I can possibly invest in something like AMD or especially like Nvidia that's holding the space, or TSM that's going to be probably the ones given the most to the gaming software and to the chip maker system?
Okay, so this is a 5G plus cloud play. Also, too, when Nokia got a Doji handle for the yearly, when Twitter did this in 2015, it just kept going up. Same thing happened to Tesla in, I think, 2018. And we see where Tesla is now. Also, Nokia got $8 billion in cash, $6 billion in liabilities. So they got $2 billion in free cash flow. They're changing their business to for the future. So this is a long-term play for it, like 2 or 3 years from now. This isn't a short term in terms of 1 to 2 years.
I mean, I don't think you can really compare that Nokia to Tesla and their run up just because of a doji candle. And I understand that you're you're basically saying that in the next 2 years, 2 to 3 years, they're gonna be a company that's surpassing in the gaming industry. And I personally, I just don't see it happening.
Well, not surpassing the game industry. I mean, like providing the ability for Microsoft, AMD, and NVIDIA to send the data to your home. So right now you need a 50 meg connection or 200 megs for a decent quality cloud gaming experience. But Nokia will allow you to have an experience where you don't even need a Sony PlayStation. You know, you just connect to the cloud. That's more. It's like an industrial play in terms of infrastructure.
Anybody else got a case?
So I'll switch it up a little bit on you, brother Conaway, man. So Nokia, a lot of their work, a lot of their business is done overseas in Korea and whatnot. What do you, maybe not what specifically would you pivot to, but at what point does your bull case turn bear? Like what type of political or international incident or issues or problems do you foresee coming down the pipeline that might change your thesis on Nokia?
If Qualcomm starts taking over, or Samsung starts taking over as an equipment provider for the telecoms, so the AT&Ts, the Verizons, and if their emerging businesses revenues start declining instead of increasing over the next year and a half.
So I will say something as a, basically to your point. I mean, it says the sales declined in 4 out of the 6 regions over a year-over-year basis. And that's going to be North America, Asia Pacific, Great China, even Latin America, respectively was 3%, 24, 19, and 35%. So it looks like Nokia's gross margin has been, basically decreasing substantially year over year. So so that's the case.
I'm not looking at what happened the past 4 or 5 years because my thesis is they just hit bottom, kind of like AMD, but instead they got cash in 2016. So I'm looking as the transition is happening now in the next 12 to 18 months, 12 to 16 months, we should start seeing the progression of all of these transition of the cloud software and all the new business models propagating. So it's not about what happened; it's about the future. Again, it's not for somebody that needs instant revenue generating. It's more like 5 years, 6 years from now. Like think if you invested in Tesla when they dropped their first model, when nobody believed in them.
Yeah, but the difference is Nokia was out and they've just done terribly for the last 4 years versus Tesla, which was viewing into the future and peering into the future. Right now, you're saying Nokia is going to peer into the future and be profitable within the next 2 to 3 years. But I feel like the history of Nokia overall, unless they was to change their CEO or the people in charge and the way that they're running things, I just don't see it that happening. Maybe within the next 5 to 10 years, I could see a shift happening, but I think 2 to 3 years is still too short of a play for you to adjust everything that they've had to deal with lately. But
So
that's my
even
personal
looking
opinion.
towards but even looking to your point, like even looking towards the future, it's projected that even their gross margin is going to be impacted by a product mix, a high cost level associated with their 5G products, their profitability challenges with China, the pricing pressure in the 5G deals, like all that is what they're saying is going to be headwinds in the future, even if you're looking towards the future. If your argument is saying that, well, it's not where they were before, this is where they're headed. Well, this is where they're headed too. There's also still some headwinds that they're going to be facing.
Okay, so I counter that with AMD had challenges against Intel, right? And look where they're at now. Tesla had challenges against Ford, GM, Daimler Chrysler, Mercedes-Benz. Look where they are now. Apple was going out of business. Look where they are now. So this is more looking towards the future. Because I mean, did anybody here invest in Tesla when they first went IPO? Okay.
Quiet. But a company IPOing versus
hold on.
We ain't trying to
So this is what I'll say. I'll say that Nokia is definitely has a lot of work to do. I know that they did recently get a new CEO, so kind of opposite to your point, Noel, they definitely did get new leadership that could look up for them in the future. If we going strictly on argument, I'm gonna take Aki's bullish case, just off of what he said. So we'll go with that. I don't know what y'all are thinking.
no, that's valid 100% because he made me want to look at Nokia just in general because to me I wasn't really mindful of Nokia because I got my eyes set on a whole bunch of other stuff. But
yeah, you did great.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely did great.
Yeah, I'm rolling with the bull. Good job, man.
Oh, cool. Who's up next? Got William. No, hold on. It just refreshed. Give me a second. Yes, the ladies. Hey, Nicole. How you doing?
Hey, sorry I've been in and out. My son will not let me be great today.
I understand. I'm a mom. What's your big companies?
Boeing would have been on there had all shit not hell broken loose on Friday. So now I have to find a way to get out of there quickly. Workhorse is on my list, WKHS. I've been following them for the past, I don't know, maybe 6 months, and it's very volatile, but I have a lot of hopes in their ability to get this USPS contract and the fact they just got a large purchase order. And they have an investment stake in Lordstown Motor, which is partially owned by GM.
Hold on, Nicole. Hold on. So are you wanting to argue the bull case for your Workhorse? Is that what you're going with? Just want to make sure.
Yeah, that's the bull case.
Okay. Then we'll go with Workhorse. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, the bear case is obviously if they don't get the USPS contract, then it's gonna put a wrench in everything. But I still think because they're one of the first to do the last mile delivery electric vehicle, and that they have all of the resources with the Lordstown factory that they purchased, that they'll be able to bounce back from that also.
All right, so this what we'll do. So for the sake of like the reason that we started this room, I do want to hear your Boeing bull case. We won't include this little crash or whatever you want to call it. We won't include that at all. That's a little short term stuff. It's not going to affect Boeing in the long term. So we want to hear your bull case for Boeing, and then we'll ask you bearish questions, and you have to defend your bull case. And we won't mention the accident either. Bet?
Got it. I
All right, bet.
Prepared,
So
but I'll try.
You got 90 seconds to get your bull case off.
Okay, so the reason why I bought Boeing was because I saw it as a combat play from COVID. And also from the Max, the Boeing Max planes that were put out of commission. Because a lot of them were put out of commission, Boeing lost a lot. So I felt they had a lot to gain by getting back in business. Also, now that Biden is president, I feel like there's a possibility that Boeing would be more likely to go into partnership with China, and that they would buy more Max planes as maybe like Goodwill to get back into the good graces of the U.S. Now there's not all this tension. So that was two things. Another is a lot of the work that they do on the defense side with the government. A lot of government contracts outside of building airplanes, so that they also operate in some of the space, aeronautical spaces in government contracting. So those were my primary reasons. But I felt like they fell so far from a price action perspective that there's just a lot of room for them to move up. And it wasn't one of those situations where everything had to be perfect for them to move up, because overall they were a pretty good company and they were in pretty good
Business.
Yeah, who got the first bearish question?
All right, so my question would be, what do you think they will be able to do about business travel, right? Because we know that's a big part of the airline industry as a whole, and we know that that's probably not going to come back to its previous levels, and that would be a huge hit to their revenue. So how would you navigate that?
I honestly didn't think that it would be so Boeing was more of a long-term play. I didn't feel like business travel would bounce back immediately, but I do think that business travel will bounce back as somebody who's working from home now solely in the tech field, and all of the conferences we used to have, all of the off-site things that we used to have that we don't have now, and that people are especially craving now because we can't do it. I think that business travel will go back. It won't be quickly, it won't be in the next 2 to 3 years maybe as robust as it was before, but as a long-term play, I feel like the business will definitely come back. It's not the same just sitting around doing Zoom meetings all day, and I for one am tired of it. And I know where my company was traveling before and how it's affected us, even not being able to like host gaming conferences and all the things that EA used to do to promote its business. It's just not the same working remotely or even doing it remotely.
So, do you think? Well, I won't belabor the thing, business travel, because that was 60% of their revenue. Well, any airlines revenue as far as the flight concerned. But I think my thing I want to ask about is, although they're all hurting right now, Boeing's biggest competitor and its longtime rival, Airbus, actually beat their delivery target in 2019 of 860 planes, and actually took the title for the world's largest plane. And although they are all kind of hurting, ultimately, this is a really extra gut punch to Boeing. How do you see them competing against their biggest competitor in the age of COVID and post COVID?
I guess I didn't really consider Airbus as a bear case. I didn't consider them. Yeah, I didn't necessarily consider Airbus taking market share from Boeing. Mainly because a lot of the pilots, they're trained on certain aircraft. So even if Boeing were to, take some of their share, like there's a cost in retraining pilots on all the different aircrafts, and Boeing was one of the most popular ones. They have like a lot of the planes that we're flying for the most part are Boeing. Airbus has a good share also, and I haven't looked at the hard numbers, which is why it might sound like I'm just going around the concrete facts. I admit that I haven't looked at it, but I do know that there's a lot that goes into like refitting your fleet, and a lot of these planes are brand new, especially the Max. They just bought these things, so it's going to cost companies a lot of money to try to refit with Airbus, retrain their pilots, and other things that come with shifting from Boeing to Airbus.
All right, so I'm gonna have to go with the bearish argument for Boeing. One thing I will say that you did have on your side, that I didn't hear you talk about, because Boeing I still feel like is a good company to hold for the future. But one thing that you didn't talk about was the amount of cash that they have on hand, and then most importantly, the fact that they are factored into the defense budget. So they're getting millions and millions and millions and billions of dollars a year from the U.S. government every single year. So if anything you mention about Boeing, you should definitely always have that in your pocket as to why they are going to bounce back. You feel me?
Yeah, and I kind of glazed over the government contracts and the position they were in before all of this started to happen. They were positioned from a fundamental perspective very well. Whereas some of the airlines and some of the companies, they were in a bad situation before COVID even happened. And just from like coming from a government background, I know that switching contractors for anything takes a long time. It's very bureaucratic, and generally, when they have a contractor that they're comfortable with, they don't like to go with anyone else. And a lot of times, they can't even get out of the contract. So, yeah, I'll make sure I keep that in mind. But ultimately, right now, I think I'm gonna get out of Boeing because I would rather just wait that out and come back if I need to at a lower price. I know it's gonna go down.
You trading shares or options?
Shares.
Don't run because of what just happened over the weekend. I would let the news kind of play that out and kind of see where the fault is. It might not be their fault, and you might toss at a loss for no reason.
Okay. So if it comes to it not being their fault, would you like average down, or I know you can give specific advice, but
This is what I would say to that. You really want to see if it's their fault, because if it is their fault, it's definitely going to affect like how many people continue to order these planes. Because I know that last plane, I think it was the 737 or something like that, where they had those crashes. Like people just stopped ordering that plane. That's why Airbus, came in and kind of tapped into that market.
They just cleared it again too, and that's the crazy part. Like maybe 2 weeks before this happened, they just cleared it.
Yeah, see. So if it's something like that, then that affects like a large part of their business. Where it might be time to get out because you don't know where the knife is gonna fall. But as far as like right now, if you are holding long term and you do, see the projection of Boeing in the future, I would definitely average down. But if you feel like there's better opportunities elsewhere, I know tomorrow is gonna be a rough day for Boeing, so I don't know if I would sell tomorrow.
yeah, I'm not even gonna look.
Yeah, because you might sell at an unnecessary loss, kind of the Prentice point where people are kind of panic selling. But yeah, definitely keep an eye on it.
Okay, thank you.
You did good, Nicole.
Thank you. I was so nervous. Next time I'm gonna have large numbers in fact, because that's what I normally deal in. But I wasn't expecting to even press the hand raising. I just felt bad because there were no women up there.
Not one woman. You was the only one.
You did great. You did great.
Thank you guys. This has been really helpful, and I really enjoy listening to you. And I did join the Come Up series, so thank you so much.
Welcome to the family. Well, cool. So does anybody want to go around the room and give last words before we close out? Go ahead, Diego. Kick us off.
Just definitely continue doing your research, knowing your bull and bear cases, tighten up the portfolios, stick to winners, and you'll be good.
Big, don't go crowd surfing, dude.
Wait, what?
What's your last words for the people?
Oh, man. I would say don't focus on the numbers, focus on performance.
Prentice?
Enjoy these next couple weeks, but keep some powder dry and get some trail stops going, but keep executing.
Noel?
All I'm going to say is that research is your best friend, and understanding that research is not just about researching the actual company, but understanding how the stock movements and the news affects your stock price so that you're not panicking when certain things that aren't going to affect your stock in the long run hit you.
I would just want to say, to my ladies out there, like, hey, we got to start somewhere. Don't be afraid. This is how we all learn, and we really trying to build generational wealth. then this is how it happens. You know, you definitely having that collective, you know, do your research. It's not as hard as it may appear. So I know there's a lot of people that are relying maybe on their husbands or their spouses to kind of learn this material. I would definitely encourage you to learn it yourself. And if you're having difficulties, please reach out to me because I am definitely all for us coming up too. I'm an engineer, so I can help you out with the critical thinking. I mean, we are some of the best researchers in the world. Trust me, if something's going on, y'all definitely know how to look up something like the FBI. So take that same principle. Apply it here. And this can definitely result in the difference of the trajectory of your family's lives, your generations to come, all that kind of good stuff. So don't be afraid next time. I definitely want to see some more ladies the next time around for next week. Eva, close us out.
All right, so I got two things. First thing, I definitely want to put emphasis on everything that Kayla said. Out of the 2 weeks, the best case that I heard was that bear case that that one lady had gave on TSM. So, ladies, y'all definitely know how to do y'all thing. So we do want to see y'all up here too. It's nothing to be nervous about. You know, we not really nobody if you really get down to it. And then second thing, as far as this whole like game, I guess you could call it, you really should never be surprised about anything in a bear case for any company that you've invested in. Because for you to put your money into this company, you need to know everything good about it, but you also need to know their weaknesses and be able to find counterpoints to those weaknesses, specific counterpoints to say, okay, this weakness is not strong enough because they doing this, or this weakness don't really hold weight because they got this. And so when we do these type of exercises, it's kind of to get the juices flowing so that when you come up here or when you just doing it by yourself, you already, one, know the bear case, and then two, you already have your counter argument for that bear case because you've already done that research, you've done that homework, and you're confident in where you put your money. Because the stock market, Elon, you know, Tim Cook, none of these people love you. They don't give a fuck about none of your money. So you really got to know the ins and outs of their business to be able to say, okay, I'm going to put my money here and let it sit here to make it come back. Because what's going to happen is when things start going sour, you're going to be looking confused and not know whether to sell or to double down or to this or that because you wasn't prepared for what their weakness could be. Like a weakness with Boeing is plane accidents. That's just one of their weaknesses. So you have to be prepared for that before you even buy into that company to say, okay, if this happens again, I'm cool because Boeing has this, or, you know, I'm out because that was kind of their main weak point that I was nervous about in the first place. So now it's time to get out. I already knew this was going to happen. You feel me? So just kind of run through that stuff in your head as you're going through your portfolio, as you're going through which companies to invest into and which companies to kind of watch from the sideline. Outside of that,
simply, I was going to say, to put it simply, to defuse an atomic bomb, you need to know how it's built. Point blank period.
That's a fact. That's a whole fact right there. But outside of that, I ain't really got too much else. I'm going to see y'all when I see y'all. Y'all have a nice Sunday, man.
Have a great start of the week, y'all. Happy Friday.
Have a great week.